Hello, hello. Hey, everyone. Hold on. Give me just a sec. Because as you can tell, what I'm currently doing, I actually put the Discord in the description this time. So I'm putting it somewhere on the screen so people can see it. I'll put it right in the middle. No. I'll put it top left. That's normally where people look, don't they? No? I'll put it bottom. Yeah, bottom. Bottom middle. It doesn't snap to the middle. Oh, that's annoying. Well, it'll just have to be off-center a little bit. His voice makes me think he's an AI. I get that sometimes, but I think I have enough of a human tone in it. The link is messed up? You gotta be kidding me. No, it isn't. Please, can somebody who's not in the Discord yet, could you try and click the link and see if it works and tell me if it does or not? Your first stream I've caught. Hello, Finn. Glad to have you here. And welcome everybody else as well. Won't be able to stay for long? Oh, don't worry about it. It's alright. It's good to see you okay. Thank you. Yeah. As you might be able to tell, it is quite a strange time for me to be going live right now because it is currently, at my location, 1:39 a.m., which, first of all, I shouldn't be awake. Second of all, I shouldn't be streaming, but I felt like streaming, so I did. Let's work with my motivation, you know? When I feel like I want to do something, then I should do it then. Discord link works for me. Okay, ha! Whoever said it doesn't work, you're wrong. I don't know why it doesn't work. If that one doesn't work, I guess you could try and go to the one in the About section on YouTube and see if that one works. If not, I mean, you might already be in the Discord. That could also be the case, you know? Yo, same time. Hey! I don't know if Thailand is a small enough country where other countries beside it have the same time, or if it's just Thailand that had that time. Well, time is like a big strip, right? So like it could be somewhere else, I guess. But I'm guessing Thailand, so hey. Sorry, AM? Why is everybody talking about time zones here? What? It's a good topic to start conversations with. If you talk to somebody online or on Discord who are from different parts of the world, it always starts with, hey, so what time is it right now? That's always how it goes. But yeah. Ooh, I should at the people on the server. I completely forgot. I'm supposed to at people. Right, notify them. That's a thing I'm supposed to do. Day 8. Even though technically, because it's 1 a.m., right now it's day 9. Right now. Okay. Hold on. I can't see the chat at the moment, so just give me a second. There you go. Okay. Hello from Ireland. Hello, Ireland. The whole country, I suppose. But yeah, let me pull you guys up on my phone so I can, you know, I can see it. How you doing? I'm doing quite good. Too late, missed the day. Challenge failed. That's not how it works. You have to do 31. Well, you don't have to do 31 drawings. It's just a fun thing to do. You know, you don't have to be too strict or stressed about any getting everything right perfectly. Um, Finally, a stream I can catch. What's got you doing streaming so late, Simon? Inspiration, randomly. I just severely burnt my finger. That's put it in ice or cold water or something. Run it under cold water. What are you doing typing with said fingers if you severely burnt it? Or are you excluding that finger from the fingers you're typing with? Or are you one of those people that type with just the index fingers, like me? Wait, do I just type with index fingers? I don't really think about it. Hold on. Let me try typing something. No. I use index fingers and middle fingers, and rarely ring fingers. Do you also have the thing where you have an art block and then you suddenly know at 2 a.m. You get out of bed to make a quick scribble before going back? Yes, I definitely have that sometimes. And you know what? I feel like I should go with the flow more, actually. I feel like I'm too strict with um, thinking that, oh, I can't do this at this time now because it's already too late for that and stuff like that. I should really just go with my uh, with the ebb and flow of art itself that is coursing through my veins, whatever pompous fucking art language you want to use. Yeah, if I have an inspiration at 3 a.m., I should definitely just get up and do it. Who cares? I'll sleep in the morning instead or something. Um, but yeah, as you might be able to tell, I'm doing day 8 right now. I'm sorry that I did not do day 7 on stream. I just really didn't feel like it. I couldn't get myself to stream. It was one of those days. I don't know if anybody else has this, but sometimes you just feel like not opening your mouth the whole day. You don't want to talk at all to anyone or interact with humans. You're just like, well, I don't want any words leaving my mouth. I've too much energy needed to do that. Um, so I just didn't stream. I thought it wouldn't be a good stream if it was, you know, just silence and me drawing and stuff like that. I'd rather prefer taking a break for a day and then coming back the other day. Are you still planning to do day 7? Well, here's the thing. I did day 7. I just didn't do it on stream. So here is day 7 for your mom. You might have thought I would do some sort of funny joke, haha, but actually I just drew a nice little character. A tavern keeper, I was thinking. I didn't draw her feet because... Why would you want me to draw her feet, you dirty perverts? Because the shot is ankle ups anyway. Ankle up anyway, so I didn't think the shot would need her feet. But I was thinking of this character, right? We talked a little bit about it last stream, which is... Yeah, see somebody else already asking about her shoes. You're giving yourself away, dirty pervert. Stop asking about her feet. But we already talked about it on one of the streams where we thought of this character that was sort of like a tavern keeper that sort of takes care of everybody and is very... Is that your mom? Yes, she's my mom. She takes care of everybody and basically the whole town knows her because it's like a small little village or something like that. So she's sort of become the town's mom. Everybody just calls her mom, lovingly or jokingly, in whatever way you'd wanna take it. You know, her being very nagging and cranky could be the reason why. But I hold on, let me collect my sentences. But yeah, I really just like the idea of like those tavern keeper characters in D&D campaigns. They normally appear and I notice a lot. where it's just this very likable. She dies. That's how you get the D&D party motivated as fuck. You bring them the best character who's like a she takes care of you, you know, always when you come back to the tavern, she's like, "Oh, how have the travels been, you know, blah blah blah." Takes care of you, brings your rooms, towels, whatever you need and stuff like that. And then you kill her off. And oh, the party will go apeshit. But yeah, I like that sort of character. I like that sort of endearing like caring person, but it's not like a soft caring. It's a very cranky, harsh caring because she is done with your shit, but she still cares. But she's done with your shit. Like, I wrote a little description when I posted it on the Discord because I was thinking of her like she would be complaining like I would be rich by now if I didn't care about you fuckers. Because basically, if somebody gets too drunk or has had too many drinks, she's not the type of barkeeper who just keep feeding you drinks because that makes her money. She'd say, "Nah, that's enough. You get the fuck out of my bar, or sleep at a table somewhere. Like, don't. You're not allowed to drink too much here, all right?" And then when you wake up in the morning, she'll be like, throwing a towel at you and be like, "You know what? You help me clean up. Get your shit together." What's her name? I think it'd be funny just to leave it as mom. Like everybody just calls her mom to the point where nobody actually knows her name, but nobody is brave enough to actually ask her name. So you ask people like, what's mom's name actually? And they're like, "Oh, I don't actually know, but I don't want to ask. She's gonna beat my ass." Why do your characters not have eyes? Do you not want them to see the horrors that you've created for them? It's just, I mean, I'm not really good with drawing eyes, and I just sort of like it for some reason. I like doing just the shadows and the highlights of the face and just removing the eyes entirely for some reason. Obviously, it's very strange and doesn't quite make sense, but um, for some reason I like it. It's weird. It's like those when you like do those bust studies, you know, just using that on actual people. I can't see her feet. Ha! It's because she doesn't have any busts. No bust study. Those like statue busts where it's from the neck up or something, and you just like draw the shadow and light part of the statue, right? Eyes, hands, and feet. I like drawing hands. I like drawing hands. Okay? Like what why do you think the whole magic system is based around people gaining more fingers? Like nobody would that's it's basically like that thing in that um that unfinished animation whatever it's called the I forgot what it's called. The one that wasn't finished that was made by like a legendary animator. He made it so the bad guy in the movie that wasn't finished had like six fingers all with like rings on them and like more joints in them. As an animator, that's just nuts. Like how yeah, the cobbler, that one. I love the bad guy of that so much. A little bit of inspiration from that for the mages, by the way, because of the hands. I loved when the hands like moved the way they did it in that, where I really wanted that to be a part of the world somehow, and I got it to be a part of the world with with the with the mages. There you go. So yeah, I like drawing hands. That's why the mages have lots of fingers. But yeah, I think I'm quite happy. I'm probably the most happy with this character out of the bunch. Actually, she's just a nice character. I've sort of made up this whole like thing around her in my head where like how she talks to people and how people interact with her and stuff like that. And I definitely like if I were to put a continue my D&D campaign again, I'd definitely put her somewhere. Um, but doesn't she have a bad side? I might need to explore her character more in my head to think of like bad sides. Like I mean obviously her temper is one of the bad sides, but like it is not a major character flaw where she is incredibly angry and alienates people around her or whatever. Like she is just a cranky person in general and says things very sarcastically and takes the she is always stressing out and thinking too much. So I guess that's like a type of character flaw. What's her feet size? I'm a visual learner. Okay, listen. You perfect again. Yeah, it's like that is a perfect way to establish her, I'd say. Is like you come into her tavern injured and she says, "Why are you bleeding on my floor?" Like she'll be helping you obviously. Like she'll be moving to the medicine cabinet, bringing out all the gauze and band-aids and sewing kits and stuff like that, but all the while she's complaining, "You're going to have to clean this up afterwards, by the way. You're not going to be able to sit around and just mope about your injury. I don't care if your foot's injured. I'm gonna get you to mop this up." It's like while she's sewing you up. That is perfect. No, we're not gonna. Tragic mom backstory. I don't think every character needs a tragic backstory. I get the appeal of tragic backstories. It adds depth and easily makes it so you can sympathize with a character, but I don't think it's necessary to have every character have their parents die in a fire and them having a nemesis they hunt after for vengeance or whatever. I'd say just having a person who grew up in a family and then grew up and inherited a bar and then having her take care of that bar and the people in it is a fair enough backstory. Oh, also thank you for the $2. What Dribmore? Thank you. Sorry, I can't wrap my head around how to say that name. What display do you use for stream? It's clean, man. Display? What? What do you mean, what display do I use? For my... What? You mean like it's a good definition? Like it's high defin... Well, then you have a great monitor. I don't think my monitor influences how you see my stream. I think that's just your monitor being good. So good job having a good monitor. Monster Gaiden? How dare you? Like the pretty art. What? I'm even more confused now. But yeah, anyway, let's get started with the topic, I guess. I tried illustrating it before the stream actually. Um Sorry. Wondering what operating device or streaming system you use. Seems like a good one. Oh, I just use Streamlabs. It's Streamlabs OBS. It's actually the Streamlabs. Oh, yeah, yeah, just Streamlabs. That's the one I use. I see the golden frog. What is the frog's name? Oh, the frog's name is the Grob Gobbler. Grobs is the official name for the currency within the Monster Garden. It's also what our logo is. The logo is a Grob coin. But yeah, the Grobler, the Grob Gobbler. He's basically our tip jar. When I was streaming on Twitch, he was the tip jar. So anytime somebody tipped like bits and stuff like that, I had them be like different uh, grobs, and the Grob Gobbler would eat them. And we sort of had like back then with the lore, we sort of had it so the person who was we didn't have the stranger yet. By the way, we didn't decide yet who was going to be this traveler that we're going to follow, and from whose perspective we're gonna write the stories. But whoever it was gonna be followed by this thing, the Grob Gobbler, which is this solid gold frog that just didn't move when you looked at it, but as soon as you looked away, it would like move to different locations and stuff like that. And the stranger would have like different excerpts in his book that was just complaining about this random gold frog that was following him. And every time he turned around, it was there again, and he'd like pick it up and chuck it into like a river, and then keep walking, and then see it again somewhere. Yeah, back then I still used a redesigned Morshu VTuber thing. Yeah, I still have it. I mean, I do still have it. It's just I'm thinking about making a different. Oh, I can show you this. I'm sorry we're delaying the the drawing thing, by the way, but I'm working on this, which is a bit of a overlay for hopefully both the stream and the videos, to give some more visual interest to the videos. The color is terrible, by the way, still, and the proportions are off as well. But I sort of was thinking about having the stranger just chilling, doodling in his book, and then just giving some, like adding in some gestures, the chin stroke, the hand pointing at whatever at screen, uh, and like a candle flickering and stuff like that. He's just a little guy. Yeah, with these proportion, he looks very much smaller. He looks like a little guy, because his arm is like quite short compared to like his head proportions. So he looks like he's 4 foot. He's a hobbit. My drawing program's Krita. Krita is free. Will we be going through day 6 and 7? It depends how much energy I have. I'll hopefully be able to go through one, like day 6, but other than that, I'm not sure. Can we have an exclusive stranger pinup? No? He looks like he's been crying for a solid hour. Fair, fair. But yeah, that's something I'm working on behind the scenes a little bit. Hopefully that's gonna work out. Obviously, I got inspiration from all the other artist YouTube channels that have their little character that helps sort of illustrate emotion and like gestures while the person is talking. It just adds another layer of like visual interest to the video. Obviously, the most recent person that I saw do it was Tree Lancer, and he did it so damn well. God damn it. His character is fucking adorable. It's like this little cauldron with a flower coming out of it, and he's like standing there so confidently with his spear thing. It's great. And it bothered me that he did it before me, so I'm gonna do it. I mean, obviously it didn't bother me, but it's motivating me to be like, yeah, I should get, I should start drawing mine. This damn tree lancer. I love his stuff, man. But yeah, also like subjectively, of course, has that sort of character. Other art channels that I can't think of off the top of my noggin have that as well. Um, oh, that's just wonderful. I'm guessing I have to mute that person, right? Yeah, hold on. No worries, people. Put user in timeout. Whoops. What? You. What the hell, YouTube? I. Okay. I remember that there was an update on YouTube where they said now you can choose the amount of time that somebody gets timed out for. I clicked to choose. No, I clicked to time him out. There was no prompt to choose how long. So, I do not know how long he's gonna be gone for. Well, I've just banished another person. Wish him luck. He might be gone for decades, who knows? But anyway, day 8. Psychedelic. I have been stuck on the topic for a little bit because I've tried my hand to draw this topic off stream. And the idea I came up with, hold on. So the idea that I came up with was that I would draw a creature that used psychedelic patterns to confuse its the predators that are hunting it somehow. Um, so what that turned into was a butterfly, uh, that had like psychedelic patterns on the wings. But the issue with that was, well, the issue with psychedelic in general is I don't know how I can draw something that I would consider truly psychedelic. Like, if you look at psychedelic imagery, it's very, complex and um, intertwining and bending into itself and stuff like that. And that's really hard to draw by hand. So I'm not sure how I'm supposed to illustrate that. I tried to draw it on the wings by hand, but it just didn't look psychedelic. I tried to take an image, like just take psychedelic images off of Google and like try to shape them into the wing, but that also looked wrong, you know? Well, yeah, I can find pictures of psychedelic things. Like I'm not confused about what looks psychedelic. It's just it's hard to draw something psychedelic, you know? So I'm thinking maybe we need to go in a different direction to avoid drawing actual psychedelic things, but maybe people who are going through psychedelic things. Basically, I'm saying we should draw people who are high um, in a fantasy setting. Like, I know the Monster Garden world has a lot of drugs in it. It is to be expected in such a horrid landscape of war and dread and famine and disease that you'd want to loosen up a little bit and get away from all that stress by smoking a quick one, by puffing some smoke, by what did Dracula say? What did Dracula say? Blow the Lord's bubbles, exactly. That's what he said. Blow the Lord's bubbles. Uh, but yeah, what was I gonna say? Right. What do you guys think about drawing fantasy people high off their rockers in like a fantasy druggies? So, which depends. I mean, okay, we would have to think of the type of drugs that are. Is that even okay? By the way, I'm now sort of uh what I just said is catching up with me, and I'm like, hold on, can I actually draw people on drugs on YouTube? Is that all right? Like, I'm just drawing people on drugs. I'm not encouraging people to take drugs, right? I think that would be not good. But I'm drawing people on drugs, and I'll make them look terrible, terrible, so that nobody would want to do it. I'll make them look awful, smiling and happy and gleeful, and having the best time, the worst time. They're terrible. Everybody, do not take drugs. Don't. Anyway, I've been curious about taking drugs. No. Make them smile with their teeth falling out, of course. Well, okay. Now, what we should think about, I guess, if we want to draw some people taking drugs, is what kind of drugs? Because we have two established drugs in the world right now. We have tar, which is the magic drug that normal people can take as well, with some very bad side effects. I mean, well, the mages taking it also have some very bad side effects, but tar is bad. Um, Not that tar. That's the real world tar, silly. I'm talking about fantasy tar. Um, and the other one is blood honey. So the blood honey was an idea. I'm fully not involved with the blood honey idea, by the way. The amazing idea behind the blood honey and the people who extract blood honey from the flowers on the Oh, he's back. Okay, hold on. I guess that's hide user from this channel. There you go. And timeout just for good measure. Okay. But yeah, blood honey is completely not my well, I guess we at least found out how long the band stays on for, or how long the timeout stays for. Um, but the blood honey was an idea by Shabby and Sedeka, the two people in the server, and also the people who I got on to the book thing. Like, I have a little group. I have my writer Stan, of course, and Shabi and Sedeka that I like bounce ideas off of. They completely came up with the idea of blood honey. I know exactly where they got it from, but the thing is, they just are really good at like connecting dots that I don't consider connecting. Where, I know that sort of uh hallucinogenic honey that like some tribal people or I don't know if they're tribal people, I can't remember. But like hallucinogenic honey that they like cut off of cliff sides and stuff like that. Uh that's like a real world thing. But I saw it on like some food channel, I think. Or maybe some sort of adventure channel. But yeah, uh, they got it from that, of course. But like the blood honey idea is really cool because, well, the idea is that the flowers that are used to produce the honey, like, give it a red pigment. I don't remember if it was because the flowers are just red, and the pollen is red or something, or if it's because, like, you know, the color shift when things have a higher concentration of mana, that the honey has like mana in it, so it's red, or because it's made with people's blood. Hmm. Bees that make honey from meat, yeah, that exists too. But yeah, what other drugs? I do want a lot more drugs in the world. I don't think two is enough. There's gotta be more drugs. Uh, I might need to. The thing is, like, if uh shrooms, yeah, some sort of mushroom is definitely. Oh, I completely forgot. We got grot. We got the dwarves grot. Yeah, we can make up fantasy ones as well. Like, it would be fun to see how nuts we can get with the extent of where they get the drugs from. Like, oh, this drug is produced if a particular beetle eats a particular plant and then it poops it out. And then, yeah, exactly. What about poop? Yes, it poops it out, and then you gotta like refine it. But the crazy guys, they just squeeze it right out of the right out of the bug, right into the mouth or something. I don't know. Moth powder. Oh, something. Yeah, something off of like animals would be interesting, like moth dust. Moth dust, moth powder, something that's like collects on their wings or whatever. Like toothpaste? Oh yeah, like toothpaste. Tree sap, tree sap. I see it. I see it. Oh boy. Let's there you go. Shark bug. Monster's venom gland. Oh yeah, it's some sort of venom, like something that's not, you know, like the pufferfish thing with dolphins, where you intentionally like, or where they lick frogs, the toad licking thing, right? And there's another one where they capture a frog, then they like scrape the stuff off its back, and then they like take a needle and like poke a hole in your arm, or like cut a wound open, and then they rub that stuff into the wound, and that gets you high as well. Uh, so like some sort of frog stuff, uh, or like anything that's like uh, that's how I'm gonna remember it. Defense turned drug. So anything that's like a creature's defense mechanism, which funnily enough has a hallucinogenic side effect that people might be able to take advantage of. Grobgobbler shavings? That's terrible. Don't. No, no, no. But yeah, so maybe we can have some people. What if we just draw some people chilling with dwarves and like in like a just smoking pipes, taking grot. Have you considered the use of current from European city Chuj? They have an interesting look. They could easily be used for this. Their horns could be grinded into powder, which could become a drug. Have you considered current? current. I don't know. Dwarves know the way. Yeah, because I think having some more dwarf art would be nice, and illustrating a scene with like some dwarfs chilling out with a person would be neat. I definitely thought of the dwarves as having those, um, these things, whatever these are called, that, and then you like smoke them. Like they got that. So I was thinking just like having a person in the middle, and then just two dwarves on either side just chilling, and maybe the dwarves. A hookah, yeah. I hope that's what it's called, or you're just spouting out random words. A sheesh. I have. I'll search it up. I'll figure it out. Um, but yeah, it. I have this fun image of like two dwarves just chilling, like because they're used to the drugs. They just casually like puff it and have a conversation, and the guy in the middle is just fucking like he is fried. He's staring up at the ceiling like, what the fuck? He's just gone. He's not used to this stuff. The dwarves have a really high tolerance. Zonked. He's zonked. He's grotted out of his mind. He's going to a different dimension. This needs to be drawn. Well, yeah, that's what I'm doing. So let's draw like little thumbnails of this first. I was thinking they would have like these recreational, like smoking corners. They're very when it comes to the chillin', the chilling for the dwarves, they chill hard. They take their chilling seriously as much as they do their work, if not more. Because chill time is few and far between, so you better make it worth your while. So I'm thinking um, like this sort of like round couch nook, with the thing in the middle, like that, and then just the guy splayed out like this. He's just like, fuck. He's, what we do? We have him float up to the ceiling. He's flying up. He's, and then the two dwarves just chilling next to him. The dwarves, I was thinking they'd be sitting like, like in the crouched position. That's how they. Yeah. And then I was thinking the table would have like a bit of a larger section because you'd also have like cups of grot as well. Parasites that grant pleasure, so you wouldn't want to get rid of them. Oh, that's great. That's really good. Uh, Brecht. Brecht de late. I hope I said that right. But yeah, that is a really good idea. It would be that maybe it's like the parasite thing. You'd want to like use it with another person, who's like taking care of you basically, because otherwise you just not take it off. So it's that sort of thing where it's like, oh, we can have you leave it on for like 15 minutes, but after that we're gonna take it off, and then when you go and take it off, they'll be like, "No, man, leave it on. What the fuck? What are you doing? Dude, don't take," or whatever, that sort of thing. And then they fight you, but they're high as shit, so like they're not fighting good. But yeah, I'm thinking it's not like a bench really. It's sort of like just an out, just just this and then floor like that, just enough to like lean your back against it. Because I don't think the dwarves would be like a sort of table and chair society. You know, they're more like sit on the ground. That's where you're doing things anyway, and like their sitting posture is very jar. Like they don't need a chair. How do you stream in every time zone? I have no idea. I guess it's just because I stream very sporadically. I've sort of inadvertently made it so most time zones can get a chance to find a stream. Um, oh, it'd be nice to have like a cutaway scene as well. Like instead of making it like with like a I'll like make it a sort of diorama esque. Have it cut off at the edges and just show like a this. Mm. I'm thinking what kind of textures they'd have on the ground because the dwarves are very much in the dark most of the time, and they develop their culture in the dark and in caverns and stuff like that. Their art isn't really colored, it's more textured. So they very much focus on different textures and tactile feels and stuff like that. So I'm thinking what kind of texture we could give the ground, maybe. And then I guess they would have like cloths laid over this. If I'm picturing them like importing any sort of goods, it would probably be like cloth because of the texture. Like they're enamored with that feel of cloth. They don't really have that uh for themselves. Yeah, oh, and food. Yeah, it'd be good to have like food. You know what? I'm gonna actually have the guy floating because that's just funny. It'll just yeah, like cloth and such, and then have the dwarves be chilling, and then the thing. I think like because they're very community based, it's definitely like a sort of big platter of one food. Everybody can take it, and they probably just eat with their hands. Like I don't see why they would use any sort of cutlery or whatever. Just like one big platter. Um, What food would they have? I'm thinking like they would probably cultivate like different types of fungus, mushrooms. They would have like grubs and insects available to them. They could definitely like probably like grow a bug to the size of like a pig and basically have bug meat, if that makes sense. Roots, yeah, roots. I was also thinking they'd be crazy about spices. Like that's another thing that they buy from Varus and like from other countries a lot. Is spices because they've never had those sorts of things, so they just are like, holy shit, spices, and they just buy a boatload of it. And because they're like very tolerant to it, they put a lot of spices into it. Oh, giving me Indian vibes. Yeah, yeah. I definitely very inspired by that. But like I think it makes sense with them that they'd have that sort of like communal and very spice heavy food like that as well, because I was thinking their palates wouldn't be that uh they wouldn't be as sensitive as human palates, so they would need a lot more of everything to help just make it interesting. Which means like lots of spiciness as well, probably peppers and stuff like that would be great for them. Dried foods? I mean, I'd say dry foods are probably a good thing just because it's not that they like dried foods. I just think that, well, if it's shipped in from other places from far and wide, it's probably very expected that a lot of it would come dried. Their own ingredients that they grow themselves would be the fresh ones, probably, but everything else would be dried. Maybe because they're like alcohol based as well, they would probably be quite into pickling things as well. So pickling, drying, just seasoned to shit. Food so spicy that it's poisonous to humans. I feel like, yeah, it definitely be like sort of, you got the like there's parts of the dwarven kingdom that is human accessible, and then there's parts that's dwarf accessible, right? And the parts that are human accessibles are the markets and the bazaars and that sort of thing. And in those places there's bars and these sorts of hangout locations where you can try the cuisine and stuff like that. But uh, every menu would have like oh, this is the human menu, and then this is the dwarf menu, you know? And then the fun part would always be like the humans always come in and they're like, no, no, but I want the authentic experience, you know? Like, I don't want to be just another human tourist traveler. Of course, I can take the dwarven cuisine. And the dwarves are like, you sure? Yeah, you want to? And they're like, yeah, yeah. And then, it's just fun for the dwarves because they don't say no. They encourage you. They'll be like, you know what? Yeah, yeah, you should try this. You should try this. I think you'd love it. You'd love it. Dwarfs win, no diff. Yeah, it's they'd win. They get their laughs, they get their fun, and the humans get a fucking coughing fit. And the humans get fucking zoinked. They start hovering in the air. Yeah, so like, okay, hold on, let me write this down. So like, roots, dried stuff, uh, lots of spices, pickled stuff, insects, and mushrooms or fungus. So I'm thinking like the dwarven cuisine is probably constantly evolving just because of like the sort of recent-ish, well, it's not recent-ish, but like compared to how long they've been like secluded from everything else, the recent-ish introduction with or communication with the humans has sort of opened up their world and the possibilities for what they're able to do, um, which probably makes it so their cuisine is like constantly throwing in new things. Fish, something they've probably never heard of, land animals, stuff like that. That they're just like mashing into things and trying to figure out how to even cook with it. So some of the dishes are horrid. But for dwarves, of course, they're amazing. But for humans, it's inedible. Like they mix things together that you wouldn't even conceive of mixing. Pickled fish. Yeah, like pickled fish. Pickled fish would actually be good. Basically, well, just fermenting fish. High amounts of salt. Yeah, they got salt. Moles and rats. I guess they would be able to get like mole creatures and stuff like that. Hmm. We'll definitely have to go more in depth about like the dwarven cuisine, stuff like that. And cuisine in general, by the way. I do like thinking about food a lot, even though like the videos don't really cover it much. Because it's sort of like a side topic, right? The main focus of the world isn't the food, but the food does influence a lot of parts of it. So like thinking about it a little bit to help flesh that out would be great. Because I have a sort of like vague idea of what the different cuisines of like the different locations would be, and also just the idea of like having fantasy creatures and fantasy plants and stuff like that, and having it so those things encourage different non-existent, non-real foods to be made is great. Because obviously, if there's a giant monster and it exists, people are going to try to eat it. Like, no doubt they'll try to take a bite out of it and see if it tastes good or not. And if it does, that creature is going extinct. That creature is getting hunted, poached, or turned into turned into cattle. But I'm not qualified to make a cookbook, guys. But like, don't be asking me for a cookbook. That's not gonna happen ever. Because I mean, even though I like thinking about the cuisine, that doesn't mean I'm gonna make good food. Okay, like the cookbook's gonna be horrible. If you want like a horrible, unusable cookbook, then sure, I guess. But like, yeah, it'll kill you. But yeah, also when it comes to like cookbooks and stuff like that, I really like, or like writing in general. Like I like how personal old writing is. If you've noticed, when you look at like old writing and stuff like that, I say it like I read the stuff. I watch videos about it, all right? But when when you look at like older writing, when it no matter if it's cookbooks or like scientific notations or discoveries and stuff like that, all of it's really personal. Like they're writing it down in like a really great way, where they're it's like they're having a conversation instead, or like they write it down in the way of a poem and stuff like that. I remember there was a disease or something that was written in a poem. Like somebody described a disease in a poem, and that's how the disease got their name. It was I don't remember what it was, but like that sort of stuff is great. Or in a cookbook where they like tell you like, like I said in the previous recipe, you know, you are supposed to use this knife, or that one or whatever, or like some things in recipe books sometimes aren't clear in old recipes because like they're very local and stuff like that. It's normally expected of the people that have the recipe to know what the person who's writing the recipe is talking about. They'll just mention something like, "Oh, use, just like add stock." And then it's like, "What is stock?" Like, what do you put in the stock? And they just don't elaborate because they expect everybody to know what's in the stock, or it's fun to like explore that sort of side of writing. No, and like in medical texts as well, or like chemistry texts, like they write that sort of way as well, where they like talk about it. Syphilis, I think it was syphilis, because it syphilis, somebody just made up that name, like they wrote a poem about syphilis, and then it got picked up, and now like that's the name of the disease. I think it was syphilis. Syphilis or the French disease. Yeah, here it is. Simon went to Wikipedia word. Pretty much. I just searched it up on Google. Yeah, yeah, it is syphilis. Nice. Yeah, I found the poem. I'm not gonna read it though, because then you'll figure out I'm terrible at reading. So just search it up for yourself if you want to see it. Talking about diseases. Yeah, sorry, I'm just in a very hockey mood, I guess. Um, but yeah, let's play around a little more with the shot. We got the second dwarf who's gonna be chilling here, and then we got the person who's gonna be floating above. What if dwarves were face blind to humans? I'd say because they're like not used to because a lot of their differentiating between people comes from, well, you don't see much in caves, right? I mean, yes, some parts of the dwarf caves are lit, but some parts don't need to be because the dwarves are very much based around touch. So if they don't introduce themselves and you don't feel them, like their arm with the writing on it, so you can literally read their name off of their skin, then you don't really know who they are. So like the main way of identifying people is either by them telling you or you touching them. So when it comes to like people and their faces, and even also just because, well, you can't really, it's not the same race of creatures. So like, for example, fucking, I don't know what creature can I take, for example, cows. I guess cows maybe have different facial features that they can probably differentiate from each other. Who knows? I don't fucking know. There's probably some creature that's a better example for that, where they can like differentiate their faces because, well, they're used to those faces. But then if we look at those creatures, they all just look similar to us because we're not trained to notice any differences in those faces, so they just look like a general thing. So I wouldn't say they're face blind. I just guess that because it's like a completely different species, they're just like, I don't know, it's human. If you don't tell me who you are, I won't be able to tell you apart from all the other ones. Ants could work. Yeah, I guess like ants then. We can't tell ants apart, but they can tell each other apart. So dwarves would be looking at us the same way as well. They'd be like, I don't know who you are. Tell me your name. Like I can't touch your skin, you and know who you are because you don't have it fucking carved on your arm. You have soft skin. And then the guy's zoinked out of his mind. I gotta make the bench bigger. Looks a little narrow. Would dwarves be more acutely aware of differences in people's voices? Again, I don't think they would be. Just because of like, same as if we listen to dog barks, like would be able to tell our dogs apart by their barks. Like, if you hear two dogs, and it's gonna be a lot harder for them. Like maybe if the tones are really different, but I don't think they would be able to tell that much of a difference, because their way of speaking is like completely not the same. Because they live in caves after all? No, no, they do have like a language that they've built. They don't use like echolocation or something like that. Even though it seems like a great idea to use echolocation. I mean, their caves aren't that large. Like they're not gonna bump into anything in front of them that like the hmm. Can they see in the dark? I'd expect them to see in the dark a little better than humans, but I don't think they're like magical night vision where they can see in pitch black caves. Like they still need an amount of lighting um, to like see things, and seeing is still quite an important thing to them, even though they are very touch focused. So they can like maneuver around caverns and around themselves in the dark quite easily. Do they glow in the dark? No, of course not. To feel around like cats? Well, yeah, they have like a giant beard, and like all of their arms have like little hairs on the inside, and their fingers and stuff like that are. So like the dwarves are very much like, while they're walking, they'd like have their arms out and like reach sides of caverns and stuff like that a lot. So they're running their hand along the side of a cavern constantly. That's why all their hallways, like I said, there's like a human portion of the dwarf kingdom and a dwarf part. The dwarf part isn't accessed by people, not just because well that's their part, but also they probably won't be able to. The caves wind down like an ant hill, or like ant tunnels, because the dwarves can maneuver that very comfortably. But for people, they can't really walk up straight walls, um, or climb that easily. So they'd be like these winding tunnels that are like the right size for them to like walk by a wall, and the wall would have like writing on it and stuff like that on entrances and exits and stuff, so you know exactly where you're going by just touching the wall basically, so you wouldn't have to see. So how the stranger go in there? Well, I never said he went like fully in the dwarf part of the caverns. So braille, yeah, braille. Yeah, the dwarves would be like very focused on touch. Like it's very normal to touch other dwarves and stuff like that. They'd have their like important information would be because they like carve their skin or like put patterns in their skin. They can do that same braille language on their arms and like on their bodies to like document things and give information. So normally when dwarves greet each other, they do like the hand, you know, that bro handshake where they you like grab each other's forearms. They do that, and they basically don't have to say each other's names if you got your name on your forearm. You can just be like, "Huh, Dave." I know exactly what your name is. And maybe it's probably I'm not quite sure yet what information they'd have on their forearm. It's probably going to be, you know, the name, then occupation, probably. That'd be the main information that dwarves would need. Dwarves probably don't like human books. Well, I don't think they'd be able to read human books at all. It's they. I mean, they could learn. Like this is the thing. So dwarves have uh they can't talk like humans because they don't have the same vocal structure, right? The same anatomy. Humans can't talk like dwarves, so that barrier can't be crossed, right? They have these smoking pipes that help them translate, but that's another thing. But when it comes to the written language, a human could learn how to read and write Dwarven because it's written, so you could learn how they write it and how to read it. And a dwarf could learn how to read and write human as well. So that could work. There could be like assigned translators pretty much that can cross that gap. But the smoke really makes that not quite necessary unless it's like I guess written contracts and stuff. But yeah. Whoops. My phone is on 5%. Let me. I've never seen a mage dwarf. Dwarves have. I was sort of always thinking of them as having like a very good understanding of magic, but they don't use magic themselves. Or if they do, it's like in a minor capacity where they just use it. Or maybe they could be the ones that use it as a form of alchemy instead. I'm still sort of thinking about that and how the dwarves use it exactly if they do. They definitely use it in their constructs and stuff like that, but I don't know if they use it themselves. Maybe they could be masters of it and find it boring somehow. Well, I don't expect any race to find it boring because it has such vast possibilities attached to it that you know if you were to find it boring and uninteresting, you'd be a fool basically to not see its potential. Are you planning on adding other fantasy races? I'm not sure. Trolls might be a thing, but other like humanoid races like that are intelligent enough to like interfere with the story and stuff like that, I doubt will get added. Because we've sort of already quite well established Ram and Varus and the dwarves and how those three interact. By the way, that doesn't mean I have established them well on YouTube. That means I've established them well in my head. Um, I'll have to do my job on YouTube as well to get that uh in the form of videos properly. Um, but yeah, so like I don't know if there's any good space to put any other races that are intelligent enough to like influence the story or the world in a major way. Um, we'll have to see. I mean, I've already uh removed large chunks and added large chunks of the world uh often, so it's not out of the picture for me to just add like another part and then change things around to accommodate it. So we'll see. Maybe we do add another race. What about racing? Am I dumb or is that a different language? Or am I dyslexic? Okay, right. Then I'm not just having trouble reading. Um, Have you seen the Lorwyn elves? I'll be sure to look that up. Hold on. Yeah. Oh, but by the way, them different fantasy races not being a part of the world does not mean that I won't like take a shot at like redesigning different races just for the sake of like playing around with them and seeing what I can come up with. Obviously, making sure to properly articulate that I don't think there's anything wrong with the original races, of course, because I don't have any issue with how fantasy races are portrayed. It's just that I like designing things, so I'm just having fun. You know, not claiming, this is better, my dwarves are better, or whatever. No, my dwarves are not better. They're just they just fit with my world. Like that's how I wanted them to be for my world, for my personal use. So doesn't mean they're better than the original dwarf or whatever. I have to make sure I say that because I know how people misunderstand things on the internet a lot. So don't want to get into any accidental drama or some reason. Suddenly find myself canceled by the art community without me knowing, waking up the next morning being like, everybody thinks you're whatever. But yeah. Oh, by the way, I searched up the elves you talked about. They look really cool. I like the head shape leading into the horns a lot. It's like hyper elves. They look even more snobby. It's like, well, I would like to assist you in your war, but hold on. You don't have cool horns like us. Well, that's terrible. I guess we won't. And then they ride off on their elks, because obviously they don't use horses. Horses are human constructs. They disgusting beasts. We have elegant things like unicorns and and horned giant rabbits or something. But yeah. Search up Lorwyn elves. Lorwyn. I like them a lot. They are quite neat. They're different enough from humans for me to. They look like that thing from Pan's Labyrinth. That's probably a very obvious connection to make because that's like they do look quite. I want to know what their legs look like because every shot here is like torso up. Or do they have normal legs or is it like digigrade? Does either faction have the edge in the war currently? Nope. They are both stuck. They're trying though. First pick shows they have normal. Oh, yeah, it's literally the first pick. I don't know, but those look different from the. I like the third one. Like the third one is capturing my attention a lot. So like I'm wondering about the third one if those whoever illustrated those has drawn some elf feet. You know, for science for scientific study, I need to know what them feet look like. See one with hooves? Yeah, I guess they very much they they panified the elves, if that makes sense. Pan, the yeah, the Pan's Labyrinth thing, and also the just the mythological Pan creature as well with the blowing pipe. the musical instrument that's also called a pan flute. Yeah. Satyr? Yeah, I don't know what the creature is called. I just know that the, one of them has is called Pan. Can you show us a picture of them? Yeah, sure. They are, um, I guess this one's fine. This one's a little evil. They normally don't look this evil. They're more like sort of jovial, foresty guys. But here they're normally like humanoid, upper torso, got horns, and then the bottom half is hooves, and they play like panpipes and stuff like that. Yeah, and it seems like the elves were panified. Yeah, because they got the horns, they got the hooves. Because I mean, other than that, you can't really do much. The problem is like that's what the difficult part about redesigning the dwarf was as well, by the way. Is like you it's really hard to change something about it without making it something different, right? Because you still want it to sort of register as a dwarf or as an elf or, you know, which means you gotta sort of like figure out what the hell makes it that thing. What is the essence of it? What parts of it need to stay at all cost? And what else you can play with and still keep the elf? Um, with the dwarfs, it was quite easy or not quite easy. It was still I still went through like a bunch of iterations, but like they had like really strong features, right? They got the big beard, they got the big nose, they got short stature, you know. So it was like easy to like isolate those things and change everything else. But like with elves, is like their whole thing is being just better humans. Like they're just cool humans, long ears, you know? So like as soon as you add other stuff, you sort of slowly lose the elfness of it. So I've thought about like how to redesign elves, and I have tried my hand at redesigning elves, but they just immediately like you just immediately lose the elfness as soon as you try and play around with it. I haven't figured out a way to like keep that somehow. Like just really long pointy ears probably that's be like a good way to keep some of that elfness. But like you can't change the face much because the face needs to be just pretty humanoid. But then if you change the body or like add more nature stuff, it just turns into like an ent or like a dryad, you know, or a pan or whatever they were called. I forgot again. Whatever pan was. No, not pansexual. That's a different thing. I mean pan, the Greek, Norse. I don't know what mythologies come from. My knowledge. Fawns. Oh, they're called fawns as well, or satyr. Okay, thank you, thank you. Yeah. So I'm still stuck with how to like do elves well. I'd say like another easier one that I could probably go for to try and redesign would be orcs. Cause like orcs got a pretty, you know, they got to be muscular, right? Basically designed for war, and the tusks. You got to get the tusks, right? So outside of that, you could you could push it quite a bit, I'd say, before it doesn't register as orcs. Orcs but boars, yeah. You could go, yeah. I you could definitely do like some boar stuff. Um, making them like a lot more animalistic. And with like orcs and such, I have always thought about them being like perfectly engineered for war because that's like the point of what they're made for and born for is like war and combat. So like they'd go to the extent of like they grow like they grow a carapace that's their own armor, so they don't actually wear armor, they just grow armor. And also their weapons, I was thinking they would have like these horns that grow on them and they just break them off into swords or something like that. But another thing is about dwarves, no, about orcs is I thought if they were designed for war, it would be really cool to make them centaurs. Because, like, knowing how war was in like medieval times and stuff like that, being on a horse sounds great. And the person being a horse, that sounds even better. You can't get knocked off a horse if you are the horse. But yeah, like the the idea of like these orc centaurs, these buff as hell, um yeah, basically a Lionel at that point. Cause that would be like the most effective thing I could think of is a giant centaur man, buff as hell, pulling back a bow that no human could pull back. Just this giant ass, ridiculous, ballista sized bow, and just knocking down whole platoons with one arrow, just punching through people, you know? And them just running circles around people because nobody can catch a beefed up horse man thing. Long tangent that I'm happy about. Oh yeah, sorry. I am going on like a very long tangent. But yeah, like elephant people was cool too. I thought about like mixing them with bulls, ox, elephants, rhinos. You know, like all of those could work in a different way. So like orcs have a lot of potential to play around with. Oh, thank you for the $50. Bonky McNoggin. That's a wonderful name. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. No message with it either. Thank you. Really. I appreciate it. Mongolian orc centaurs? Yeah, like I was thinking they would be like basically nomadic, wouldn't they? If they're like a war faction. So they would sort of be Mongolian-esque with like just riding archers. Cause if they're like designed for war and made for war, I think it'd be interesting to like explore the orcs in a more strategic manner where they're not like ruthless killers. They are trained and skilled in what they do. Like they don't ruthlessly run in. They work around their environment and you know they do everything right for war. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. What's today's prompt? Psychedelic. I'm completely losing track of what we're doing, but that's fine. Look, I like talking in stream. I don't like talking to people just on stream. Yeah. What other creatures would be like fun to redesign that has like potential? I'd say, oh, you know what would be neat? Trolls. I like trolls a lot. But like try to go back to how trolls were illustrated in like old mythology with like the really long hair and big noses. There was this one song that I like a lot, actually. I listen to it sometimes because I just liked how it sounds. Hold on. I'll find it so I can share it with you. But the image that they use for the song I like because it has a troll on it. And that sort of style might be fun to explore for trolls. Here it is. That's a Valorant commercial. Thank you for the $1.99 or $2, pretty much. Likey, appreciate it. Do you like sci-fi at all? Well, yeah, yeah. I do like sci-fi. I don't think I would go into sci-fi much myself, maybe in the future. If I do, it'll probably be like biopunk, like some sort of bio sci-fi, because I find that sort of thing very appealing, more than like sci-fi, because I'm just not good at like uh mechanical things and stuff like that. And also it's just I feel like however much I draw that sort of thing, I'd either draw something that already exists or that somebody else can draw 100 times better than me, right? Because like that, like the sci-fi, there's so many good artists in sci-fi that do like crazy shit. I mean, in fantasy as well, but at least I feel like I sort of have my own niche here somehow with like found a little nook for myself, right? Which I think I couldn't possibly find in sci-fi. People are way too good at sci-fi art for some reason. Like the people that draw mechs and suits of armor, they put the amount of detail and like not just detail, but like detail in such a perfect way that it looks so satisfying and tactile and shit. Um, but yeah, what was I gonna do? Right, song. The song is called Hermannalig. I butchered that. Um, but it's. I'll send it into the chat. There you go. Um, the image for it is a troll, and I like this sort of illustration of a troll a lot because it's like the lots of hair and the schnoz, but like for some reason this person, and I think I've noticed it in some other art as well, draws them as like their heads are really flat and big. So like the hair has a lot to drape over. Like that head shape is ridiculous. If you or like I don't know if the head reaches back to here, but like it looks like the hairline is going basically back to there. So like the head is like this big ass disc thing. Um which I like. I like that shape for some reason. I like that song. Oh yeah, I like the song a lot. I don't know why. It's just good. Sounds nice. Redesigned Germans? I uh I think somebody else was trying to do that already. I don't want to, you know, I don't want to deal with that. Yeah, where were we with the drawing? I completely went off track. Fun fact: the song is metaphor between a Christian and pagan a worldview, with the mountain troll woman being pagan and the knight is Christian. Oh, I didn't know that. Huh. I thought it was just an ugly troll trying to ask a handsome prince out, and that was it. I guess I should really look into subtext more, shouldn't I? Like I just like the the lyrics of the song are great. Basically, it's just you know, troll lady goes up to beautiful prince and she's like, "I like you. You're so pretty. I can give you so many things. I can give you magic sword. I can give you rings. I can give you gold." And then the prince is just like, "You're ugly as fuck. You're a troll. Get the hell out of here. I would never. Disgusting." And then the troll leaves and cries. Which is great. That's just a great song, isn't it? What's your favorite type of rice? Huh. That's a strange question to ask. Just plain rice, I guess, white rice. Um, I haven't eaten enough of the other types of rice to actually have a good say in which one I like more. I'll just say plain white rice because that's what I eat the most of. Oh, I'll be sure to listen to that one. Hold on. Thank you. Oops. This one. Okay. I'll listen to this after stream. Redesign humans. Yeah, what other races? The troll thumbnail pictures, a painting by John Bauer, several troll paintings. Oh, that's great to know, actually. Thank you very much for that. Mutant Hen Mars. Appreciate it. I'll be definitely looking into that guy and look at more of his work to take inspiration from. Because I do like that sort of style. Siren, mermaids. Yeah, I guess those would be very fun to redesign as like the main essence of their design isn't really their physical appearance. Their main essence of the design is the alluring with song and stuff like that. So you could basically do anything and call it a siren. You know, if they still sing and they still lure in weary travelers, then you got a siren. So that would like open up a lot of potential for like how to play around with it. You could do that thing where like a giant creature has like a little angler lure thing that looks attractive or whatever. Be neat to have like a giant beast, basically a leviathan with like multiple of them that reach out and end in like beautiful women or whatever. Mm. But it'd be fun to because apparently from what I've heard, it's like sirens and stuff like that or mermaids. They don't lure you in with like they sing about what you desire, right? Which doesn't necessarily have to be anything women related. Like it doesn't have to if the sailor happens to be thinking about donuts, the sirens would be singing about donuts, which is great. So you could play around with that. Maybe have the siren take on different forms of what they most desire at the moment. A singing donut. I mean, I'd jump in the water for that. Um, Lecky, thank you for the $10. So I've been working on a world. Uh, what did you run out of space for the letters? So you hold on. Where the whole story takes place on a giant radio disc, like 2 light years across, on the edge of the universe, receiving allo all of the random messages sent out by planets, creating a library of knowledge. Ah, okay. That was uh tough to read because you didn't put any spaces. But yeah, like sirens would be fun. Ghosts. Oh yeah, I guess because like over the years, I guess so. There's been a lot of ways people have tried to illustrate spirits. You know, like floating orbs, fucking just transparent transparency, opacity set to 50% humans. You know, um, so yeah, you could play around with ghosts. Goblins. Goblins are perfect. What are you talking about? Goblins are absolutely perfect. Redesign undead. What? Well, redesigning undead would mean you have to redesign the creature that is dead. I guess you could redesign the means of how they got resurrected. Um, but that wouldn't be really redesigning undead. That's sort of a dead end, isn't it? Yeah, don't disrespect the loot goblins. They're perfect. I'm a loot goblin myself when it comes to playing games, so I play the cheeky way. You know, if the game allows me to mess around in goofy ways, I will do that. Uh, I love your style. For how long you draw, and how do you find motivation to draw every day? That's the funny part. I don't have motivation to draw every day. Some days I don't draw at all. Depends. You know, it comes and goes. I've drawn for like 7 years now. 7 years. That's how long I've been drawing for. Uh, I like the idea of siren songs that everybody hears differently. The siren is not aware of the content. It just sounds as the most appealing thing to the person. Yeah, I think that is a good way to do it. Because, I mean, yes, it would be a good way to do it, but I also think like the other way around, where the siren knows exactly what it's singing about, was also impressive. Where like a siren actually has to think of what she's singing. That would be interesting as well. Where like sirens are pretty much incredible artists. Like they don't just use illusions. Like they literally are that good at singing that they can lure people in to get them to jump off a boat. That would also be interesting, you know, because that would mean they'd have to learn that somehow. Do science like study books on music and stuff? Maybe. And depending on what they learn it from, they have different methods of luring people in. Some sirens would be singing beautiful ballads with basically symphonies, an orchestra within the vocal cords of a siren, luring you in with pretty melodies and stuff like that. And the other ones would just be like, "I got chicken wings," and the sailors would be like, "Fuck yeah, chicken wings!" and they'd jump off. Chicken wings and ale. God, you love it. 2 for 1 deal. KFC sirens, yeah. I mean, if I've been out at sea for like months, traveling the foggy seas and living off of a diet of um like that living off a diet of like hardtack and like dried food and shit. if I hear somebody scream chicken wings, I am launching myself in that direction at the highest speed that I can move at. You know, the body craves what it craves, and I at that point I am not in control of it anymore. If chicken wings are available. What if they're just annoying and you try to make them shut up? Yeah, that could be a different tactic as well, where it's like they're so bothersome that you just want to jump out the water and just go stab it or whatever. Shove something down its throat so it stops fucking talking. The flesh is weak, and the flesh of chicken is delicious. Yes. Did we skip your mom? No, no, we did not skip your mom. I drew your mom. Um, but I just didn't draw it on stream. Here's your mom. Uh, I didn't draw your mom's feet, Seth, because your mom's feet are nasty. So you just get ankles up. Enjoy. There is more context to this image, by the way. I did make it into like a character, but I dare. I dare, Seth. I dare. But there is more context to this image. It is actually like a character. Uh but I do not want to get into it again. You can scroll back to all the way to the start of the stream to hear it again if you'd like. Oh no, I almost clicked the wrong one. Wait, did I click the wrong one? No, no, that is the right one. Whatever ungodly yawn that was, please don't pay mind to it. I might need to end the stream soon. It's 3:30 a.m. at the moment. I don't know what I'm doing anymore. So it sounds like fall damage. Oh, oh, oh. 4:30 skill issue. You missed 4:20. Shame. You should have announced it. When you got to that time, you should have told everybody. For me to drop my pen and pause. For us to all revel in 4:20. But you decided to wait till 4:30 to tell me. My beat with those numbers. It's either 4:20 or any time and followed by 69 minutes or 69 seconds. That's how a clock works. A minute has 100 seconds and an hour has 100 minutes. Redesign the concept of redesigning. Oh, that's an interesting one. That's a tough one. I'm gonna change the way you think about thinking. Whoa! Just blow people's minds, basically. Bro is absolutely gone. I am completely gone at the moment. Honestly, I should probably... Yep. You know what? We're going to end the stream. I mean, we got the idea of what the day will entail, so I'll finish it tomorrow. We're not that far behind because I could just finish this tomorrow and then finish the drawing of tomorrow as well. But I would rather end the stream because otherwise I will probably say something that will justify. I'll say something to incriminate myself or something. I don't fucking know. I had nothing to do with the death of those people. Something like that. You don't question where I was on the 11th. The 11th of November, whatever. I, I'm stupid. I hope you had a nice stream. I hope you enjoyed it, and the tangents, because we didn't really. Well, yeah, we didn't really draw much. Yeah. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it either way. I'll see you in the next stream, where I'll do I don't know, I'll do a fucking foot reveal.